King Boom. Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken dam waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, still memory tells me don't fall for spook. Drop mental nuke, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. Me nah play with us so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job. 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci stores with God. Thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish Mike Renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer. Empty battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways, rap conduct squarer. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro, black, colored minority, death repairer. Not the being, but the label attached. See me like Martin, going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow so dull that I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper, CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill but no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liars do nothing for you while they get rich and poor you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from hood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repedo, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not Bay but L like bread and hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands. With birthright brands, I don't worry about getting scanned. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. We know what you are, we started profiting.
So it's gonna get you in. What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't in the building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children. Reppin' Friday 30s like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. So you might see him on the block getting his posture. Might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his vest when he's walking. See the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out. Why we boxing in our own house?
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify as possible mission. Free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the cross, souls God bought. Placed in the devil's hands, rule in the seven lands. Through dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. They still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past righteous rock? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyberpunk. No need for cell phones, they see through soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the enemy serenade. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed, speaking to who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. And always look to these hoes like hallucinary pimps. Sun walk the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, used to see his cringe. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine for what fears. This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place. The spoons on blocks, inspire spots, fill spaces. Peel back, rats, who got cases? Fire stains the corridors or flemo faces. Game changers, rule benders and no pretenders. Style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses. Send a message to our veterans. Soldiers up and get it in. We on our birds, we emerge subliminal being. Third eye seeing, still I participate unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, bake, grade me. Rolling with my main G, double OMG. S-O-N is crazy. For a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark pools. I've been saying you mistaken me. You better move for our market. Power pin is my tongue, your existence a target. Revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Out some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the deep killing some dope, just to keep us afloat. Mind as deep as a boat, rain is a lethal weapon. We one need to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Vuitton, the semi-poke. Cause dirty cops to kill your boy, you ain't a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prisons. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just to build position. It's like the slavery never ended, we're the intermission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and make one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
Islam, peace and love. This is MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Sons of Allah, as is every third Thursday of every month. Peace and love. I am Mizraim, I left L, along with the Grand Sheik, the Iron Sheik, Kujo Adwo L. Islam, Noble.
Islam, fam. What's good? What's good?
Man, everything is seeming good right now. You know what I mean? Even in the face of the ugly, everything is seeming like it's going to be. Everything is going to be well. It is well. All is well, I would say. You know, in the language that was left to us in the Circle 7 Holy Quran. You know, make sure we got those lessons. Big acknowledgement to Noble Drew Ali. Big acknowledgement. And with that being said, we're speaking of the language of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, but I just want to say, man, that track is fire to me, man. That is y'all got some good music about to come. Wisdom of the Womb, I'm definitely feeling that. You know, that second track that was played tonight, you know, it was meant to be like that. I thought I had it set for one, but, you know, it is what it is. I couldn't listen to The problem is can't come on and you skip it. So I had to let that rock and, you know what I mean, let the other one rock. I was like, okay, that's just what time it is. But I first want to say, you know, through the communications and things of that nature, keeping the Circle 7 science alive, music being one of the 7 liberal arts, you know, just want to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that you're doing that. So a big salute to you, everybody that's on that album, man. That I know people are going to love that right there, and that's a fact. That's a fact. So, you know, salute to the work y'all been doing. Wisdom of the Womb.
Yeah, wisdom of the womb. So
the wisdom of the womb.
And again, you know, we have to also, you know, put a shout out to all the people who supported early out. You know, when we were prepping, you know, before we even had the studio and all that, when we were getting all that stuff together. So, you know, thank you to everybody who supported that. We really wouldn't have the album going down if people really didn't support for real.
That is a fact. That is definitely a fact.
Like, that's a fact. You know what I mean? And that's across the board with everything. You know what I mean? From the music to the literature to, you know what I mean, classes to come on down and let's do a lecture wherever you're at. You know what I mean? All of that. You know, because
hold on, Moor. Let me ask you this question. I don't mean to cut your wisdom or stop anybody's shout out, but you sound a little choppy. Is that just me, or do I sound clear to you?
Yeah, you sound clear.
Yeah, because you sound just a little bit choppy. I don't know if that's just me, but
still choppy.
Just a little bit. Nothing crazy. You know what I mean? As of right now, but it was enough to notice that something wasn't sounding right. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's just me.
We'll try this way. Let's see if this way.
Yeah. Somebody just shot me a text and said you don't sound clear. You don't sound clear. Yeah.
Let's see if I'm clear now. I don't know.
Well, you still sound a little bit choppy. I'm not even going front. I don't know. I don't know. You wanna I don't know if you're in a bad reception spot or the weather is bad or.
I got full service.
Oh, nah, you good now. You sound good now, bro. I just wanted to make sure because you were saying something that was super important. You know what I mean? Giving people their acknowledgement, and we just want to make sure. I mean, not just that, but whatever you say is clear. But the fact that you know, we don't want anybody to miss what you're saying so that they can't say they didn't get their acknowledgement, and that's a fact. So, you know, you sound clear, bro. I yield it back to what you were saying. Islam.
You know, with everybody that's supporting, really what it's about for us to get where we're supposed to go. You know what I mean? Like anything Moorish, support it. Because especially if it's active, you know, more so the active. You know, and when we say active, we're going from the level of you know, certain political activity to, you know, artistic, whatever it is. You know, because, you know, like we know, all it takes is a few of us because one of us is equal to so much. You know what I mean? Beyond the 100 bailiffs, if we throw Spirit Man in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So it's an honorable thing. It's an honorable thing for you to want to support things that are happening in your nation.
Word.
Like more specifically. Because trust me, you're not going to Chinatown to buy some jerk chicken.
Right.
But trust me, a Chinaman's going to be in the Jamaican community selling jerk chicken, though. Chinatown selling jerk chicken.
Right.
Not because they don't like, not because they don't eat chicken or whatever, but, it's about nationhood, first and foremost.
Indeed.
So, so we're throwing it up for all the people who've been supporting, whatever it is, vibrated with your spirit, and you put some energy behind it. Honors to you.
Word. Fact. Definitely have to agree with all of that, and I say everything you just said. That's for real. So for sure. So yeah, man. Again, and congratulations on all the great work that's being done. So all right. I know there's a lot to talk about, but we briefly spoke earlier today, and just for those that are listening, this conversation is open to everybody, but more so, this is Sun Talk right here. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's not just for sons. So I'm saying that, sisters, please, if you're listening and you have something you want to say, a different point of view, please feel free to chime in on this particular subject. I already see caller 347 with their hand up, so I know you may have a question. You know what I mean? But please hold that question. You know what I mean? Like, really hold that question and vibe with us. You know what I mean? And it's not that we don't take that serious, but just give us a minute to get into that and stay with your hand up. So, all right. So let me just premise it with this. In law, right, we know when we look up the definition and the distinction between lawful and legal, that when you're talking about legalities, you're talking about the process of law. When you're talking about law, you're talking about the substance of law, right? And legal and lawful are not the same thing. So we're talking about substance, and it mentions morality, and when you look at morality, it mentions an aspect of law. So in essence, this is a lawful conversation, but on the note of morality, though. And I'm sure there'll be other points tied into this conversation. But and I just want everybody to know that this conversation is open-ended. So, I don't know everything that's going to come to mind about it as we're speaking about it, but it's open-ended. And I say that because specifically we want to hear from the people on this particular subject matter. Like, we're going to drop some information, but at the same time, we want to hear what people have to say about this. So, and I'll just go in like this. And this is from a real life situation. All right, and I'm not going to say anybody's appellation, right? But just as an observer with a vision, with a view and a perception, I see that this is something that happens throughout our communities often, and there's like 1,000 reasons why people are being divided. Like, it's so many reasons why. And going back to, our Aboriginal structure of things in community, specifically community, there were certain protocols in place. Now, I got to say this to preface this conversation. I understand that there was a time where communal marriage, and still, among some people, it's fine with them. They all consent to it. All of this is going down. And, they say that this is, what they call, quote, unquote, communal marriages. But we know that perceptions have changed from times of ancient to times of now. So I say that to say that, brothers, right? And I know this is a different conversation than we've ever had on the Sons of Allah to this degree. But specifically, I wanted to bring this up. So, okay, check it. You have, like, specifically Moors might be able to relate to this, I would say, proclaim Moors, or how there's times when people they might get into some trouble, not even trouble, but they might have to do something or challenge the European, and they ask you for help. They need your help. But then, they start leaning on you for everything, like as far as, put in the paperwork. And you might be in your spirit like, damn, I'll do everything I can, you know what I mean? Specifically to those who are finding their way of how to be precise with sharing and uplifting fallen humanity. So sometimes people, they might be in a position where they're giving the best, the very best of them that they have. They're saying, yo, I'll rock with you and I'll do everything I can to help you, right? And so you're helping, right? So brother's in a situation that you're helping, he gets locked up. He's locked up. So only real support from the outside is his girlfriend. Now, you don't know a brother like that, but this is your brother, right? So he's locked up. You're helping. You're trying to help him get out, right? For everything you can do. Habeas corpus, looking at his paperwork, trying to send him letters for mailing and all of this thing, all the things. You know what I mean? And as you're helping him out while he's locked up to his girlfriend, she comes on to you. And you might have a certain moral compass where you're like, now we know what happens to the usual, oh, well, he shouldn't have got locked up, right? That's what people say. He shouldn't have got locked up, right? And that's hard to specifically accept that when we know that most people are locked up for things that are not really crimes. They're locked up on bogus charges. So with certain pilgrims being, at war with color of law owners, you can't always accept that if you know law, if you're conscious, remind you, right, from a position of a Moor. You can't always accept that he shouldn't have got locked up because you know the distinguishment between de jure law and color of law. So you're like, I can't accept the fact that he should have got locked up. I just can't. You know what I mean? Because he shouldn't have. That's unlawful. That's unconstitutional. But anyway, long story short, well, no, I'm not even going to rush through this. Long story short, trying to make a long story short, but it's really not that long. All right, so the attitude of the sister that you're helping with the paper work and different concepts or, pointing out different things, different sessions, right? And you're like, that's all I'm trying to do is help you, help him, or whatever. Get out. That's my intention at this time. All right. So in the course of that, nothing, you're like, damn, these people they're not hearing this. They're not hearing this. At this particular time. I don't know what's going on, but, it's I can't blame, I didn't know, what really got them in that situation or anything like that. So you don't really know that. You know what I mean? You just know that you're just trying to help because the last time you seen this brother, he was in dire need. So sister comes on to you while you're trying to help, but you notice it and you block that because you might have a moral compass. So one of the things I wanted to ask is from the perspective of people, specifically our people, had a specific protocol or a specific order for what we call communal marriages today, because I know everybody's not for that. You know, I know some brothers is for that, some sisters are for that, and then there's some brothers who are not, and there's some sisters who are not. And they agree to be, you know, twain flesh one. You know what I mean? Or the two flesh one. That's where they at with it. And then you have some others who say, well, I want to keep the ancient culture alive, so let's go communal. But there's rules to communal, meaning that nothing is a secret. Everything is open, right? So it's not something you would do, right? Like you wouldn't share the same woman if that wasn't an open arrangement. And I'm not even saying that is right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's not something you would do behind your, quote, brother's back to somebody you don't really know how he feels about, but still in awe. All you know is these people were together. I might not want that energy. You know what I mean? I might not want to receive that from you. You don't know. So you like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of other situations that can manifest. I'll pass on that. I have one mission, and that's to help the brethren, help you help the brethren. So time goes past, you know, they railroad the brethren. He's locked up. So his sister is out here. You know what I mean? She's out there. And we know that we all have natural hormones, you know, depending on your age range, certain things influx, it increases and decreases, so you might be at a different stage. Or you might just be at a mastermind level where you got your lower self in check. Real facts. You know what I mean? So that you know what's law, what is not. Now, it takes me into the fact that, and Kuja, I hope in a moment you would go in on this particular lesson, but the fact that when we're speaking of law, right, and how it goes to morality, right, and then we look at the lessons of the Circle 7, that's law. That's morality. When I read that years ago, I said, damn, it looked like, you know, and no credit, but I felt like these were my own thoughts on paper. You know what I mean? This is exactly what I was thinking on paper. That's what I was saying. And, you know, I've received wisdom that I never even fathomed that will make sense the way it does today. So you're moving with a compass. You're moving on a 7. So you're not even, you know what I mean? You're like a repellent to the negative energy, opposed to being receptive to it. All right, so long story short, I say that to say that when the sister is left alone in that situation, for the most part, we know that if somebody's doing 4 or 5 years in prison, she might move on. She really might move on. And, you know, you couldn't really, I don't know, I might be right, I might be wrong, but I would say that you can't really, you know, hold judgment over the sister's head if she's going to deal with somebody else while this particular brother is locked up. You can't for 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? She's at a stage where her hormones are still active and things of that nature. So she got to wait 5 years for, you know, this situation to go to you know what I mean, for him to come back around, right? And granted, you know, somebody might be in there, they might get in a fight, have to catch a body, and end up being in there longer. You know what I mean? So she don't know what the future is holding. Now, being as though you're in a position where you're moving with that 7 in that compass, and you're like, nah, I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not even going to entertain that, because from the last thing I knew, and the reason why we're even around each other is because we was trying to help get this man out. That's what I know. You know what I'm saying? That's the facts. So, you know, you would consider that if she really got to wait the whole 4 or 5 years, and they really like property and, you know, treating them like property, and it's nothing nobody could do from the outside, not individually anyway, then you would expect her kind of sort of to move on if you wasn't him, right? But what I'm saying is if she moves on, it doesn't necessarily have to be you that she moves on with. If you're moving with a certain, you know, moral boundary, a boundary line, you know what I mean? That circle around your passions, that square on your conduct, that, you know, your kundalini energy is maximizing. All of this is increased. You know, you're dealing with your higher self, so you know how to pick, you know, good or bad situations. You know what I mean? So you would see that, okay, she might move on, but it don't have to be me. And because of these certain principles that was already laid out in the Circle 7, I'm not making that choice to do anything as far as the acts of coercion or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because that's not moral. You feel what I'm saying? Like, in that situation. Now, granted, and I know, please, sisters, don't get me wrong, I know that the communal marriage, usually, you know, the sisters have multiple husbands, and we could say we still see that today. It doesn't mean that, you know, anything sexual is taking place, even in that situation, in that case. You know what I mean? Not that it couldn't, but that might not be the relationship, right? So the thing is, the sister does move on, and it's not you. You're like, nah, I'm not going to be the one to have to look this brother in his face, you know, because it's a part in the Circle 7 that mentions it'll be a pain in his heart that thou cannot relieve, if I'm not mistaken. Man, pardon me. Cujo, I think you got me on that one. You got us right now who are tuned in on that one. I'm throwing that one to you as far as that particular reference, if you recall. But I know you know what I'm talking about as far as, you know, your brother's wife or, you know, something of that nature. And I apologize, I can't remember verbatim. I don't like to mention it if I can't recall it. But I will make sure I pull that point out either way, you know what I mean? But you're like, nah, I'm not doing that. That's a pain in his heart. Thou can't, you know what I mean, relieve that if that was to ever be found out. So anyway, the sister moves on. It is not you. You never did anything with the sister except for try to help the brother get home. She comes back around years later with a child. Everything different that was done collapsed because it wasn't built on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? So it collapsed. It didn't last too long. So now, you know what I mean? Everything 360. So a complete 360, meaning that people do that, then they get to a stage in their life where they have to discern the sincere from the insincere. You know what I mean? That has to come. That's justice. That's judgment. That's, you know, that has to take its course. Some people call it karma. Some people call it, you know, what you sow, you reap, things of that nature, right? But there's many different ways to look at it. So, but this is the real facts. And I'll never say a name. This is just something I think we all can learn from, gain wisdom from, and analyze. So she comes back around, right? And she has a child, 2 years old. Beautiful, beautiful child, star seed. But she had it with another one of their friends. Get what I'm saying? Strictly, like, straight point blank, with another one of the friends that the brother knew while he was locked up. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Real facts. Now, is the sister right or wrong? It's not to cast judgment. Because I say that because there's a 360-degree way to look at this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, brothers being missing, being gone, you can't, people's lives go on. You can't hold that. But what was the difference between me and him? I would say that it was a different degree in the moral compass. You know what I mean? Because it could have been somebody else that happened with. You know what I mean? But that's not all, because certain people know certain people for certain periods of time, and some people may have known each other since knee high to a grasshopper, and they like, yo, I rock with you from back in the day. Everything is good. Yeah, we from the same hood. All of that fly stuff, right? And still don't work out. Not adding up. Chemistry just not there. It's non-progressive. It's not productive. Difference. I would have to say, in my perspective, that it would be, the moral compass that people deal with, meaning that if there's not a already established, and I'm not saying I'm for this or not for this, but I'm just saying that if it's not already established, acknowledgement of communal, quote unquote, communal marriage, or people having multiple partners. I know this goes on all of the time. You know what I mean? All of the time. But what I'm saying is, it's not about the carnal pleasure or gaining carnal knowledge of that particular woman just because you might be able to. It's not really always about that. Speaking to the youth, I know the youth, they're going to run wild, uncontrollable hormone. I already know. You know what I mean? But I would hope that the dimensions that go with this conversation will help bring something to light as far as what about the morality, the moral compass of things. Because, again, what made me, from the other brother he quote-unquote knew different, right, is that I was moving with a moral guide, which, it could have been anything. It could have been something I saw in the Bible. It could have been something I saw in the Holy Quran. It could have been something I read in a newspaper article. But specifically, these were lessons from the Circle 7 Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, which is why I chose not to do anything with that sister, because when the brother, or if the brother comes home, and when he comes home, right, whether it be tomorrow, whenever, I wouldn't be able to, I would feel mad dirty around him. You feel what I'm saying? It would feel funny. I wouldn't be able to front that, specifically if before he went in, right, for 4-5 years, this was the last woman that I known him to have relationship to, and she's out here holding it down, trying to do everything she can to get him home. It was a difference in the moral compass, or, degrees of knowledge, which is why, you know what I mean, that as far as I'm concerned, I could say I left no pain in that man's heart that I can't heal. You feel what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying, or that sister's heart that I can't heal. You know what I mean? Or she can't, or he can't heal. So I just wanted to put that out there, you know what I mean? I wanted to leave that open-ended for the callers, to put on the table. What do you think? Is that right or wrong? Was the brother who did, get her impregnated with the child, for, you know what I mean, et cetera, or who had coition and gave it a spark, however you like to say it, was he wrong for doing, for participating in that act? And he knew this brother, before he went in. This was his people's. So, that's what I wanted to put on the table. And, we can add on, but for now, Brother Cool Joe, I don't know if you know what I was talking about in the Circle 7 where it says there'll be a pain in his heart that cannot heal. If not, I'll check for it while I'm yielding the floor over to you. As of now, Islam Mobile. Say that again. You sound kind of chopped up again. Yeah, you sound real digital right now. Like, it's choppy. Yeah. You know what? I don't know what's good. What you did the first time was the good look. You know what I mean? Because you was clear after talking for a minute. But yeah, I don't know. It might be a bad connection. Remember that happened to me the other week? You want to just like hang up and call back right back in?
It's still choppy.
Yeah, I can't even hear what you're saying, bro. So if you can hear me, I would say just hang up and then call right back in. I got you. Because that's the only thing I know what to say, because that happened to me about 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you remember, maybe 3, but that's all it was. And when I called back in, everything was smooth. There was no extraness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
all right.
Call back in.
All right. Yeah, just right back in. All right. Yeah. So that's what it is. So we're looking at a situation with that, you know, as far as and when I say we, I'm talking about everybody on this line. This is just a real life moral example, you know, to analyze, you know, because I'm not placing any blame. I was just looking at, like, well, what was the difference, you know, between a decline and an acceptance, and, you know, specifically revolving around the same thing. So, you know, all right, let's get it. Islam Noble, are you there?
Islam.
Hold up. Islam, you there, bro?
Islam, fam.
Yup, I can hear you clear. Here we go.
Oh, it's clear. Good. All right.
We good. We good.
So yeah, with regard to that, you know, I echo a lot of the sentiments you had, because, you know, naturally, you know, she could move on. You know what I mean? It's not no ball and chain going on, you know. But it also says a lot about commitment. And what about those sisters that would wait the 5 years?
That's what I was talking about. I mean, that's what I was saying. I would love for them to call in. Where y'all at?
Yeah. That's by their master type of, you know what I mean, perspective. You know, that
oh, man. Yeah, bro, this is crazy. Moor, you chopped up again. You chopping up again. You breaking up. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what you did the first time, but everything was well. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, I gotta say, you know, on the flip side of that, definitely big acknowledgement to all the sisters that would do that. You know what I mean? Because they exist. They do exist. That's a fact. That is a fact. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's some sisters who won't. You know what I mean? And that's just, you know, but I salute all of the sisters with that type of integrity. Yes, definitely. I definitely would never disrespect that aspect. But I know that also comes with time and things of that nature. I know that too. But, you know, some sisters are built like that. They just wired like that. Like, yes, you know what I mean? And that you know, unconditional love, things of that nature, that's their wiring. You know what I mean? You can't change that. That's the hard drive. So, you know what I mean? Everything about that is true, you know. But I'm just saying the ones who won't, something else attracts them. You feel what I'm saying? You still there, Moor?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. But I didn't want to cut your wisdom. I was hoping you would get right by now. Islam.
Yeah, so I'm good now.
Go ahead. Go ahead in a little bit because I couldn't really tell.
Right. Well, so there's those two dynamics.
Oh, man, yeah, you still choppy. You still choppy. And they're trying to shut down the classic with that. What's good?
Right.
What's good? But, you know, damn, bro, it's like, it's everything you're saying is chopped up. So, you know what I mean? I'm just hoping we can make something happen with that and get that right. You know what I mean? But for sure, I'll say that you're still choppy, bro. Yeah. And just give us like a full sentence to really tell or distinguish, you know what I mean? But, yeah, man, I don't know.
Because I ain't doing nothing different. Oh.
Right. You sound a little bit better right there, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's still choppy. It's a little bit better, but still choppy. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, see, that sounds better. Go ahead and continue. Like, if it's really start to chop up again, I'm going to let you know. But
just let me know. All right. Yeah, so, again, you know, because we're not just representing our situation. We're representing each other. If we say that we're a nation, this is why certain nations, they don't play around with traitors. They just kill them because they're not going to have a bad mark on the nation because of some jerky boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not going to have it. You know what I mean? So, you know, and again, because of the issue of people not doing with this information what they were supposed to when they had it after Noble Ali left the formations amongst the Moors. This is not even, you know what I mean, Negro issue. This is in our circle we have these issues.
Right,
you know?
right. That's why I was saying in the beginning there's so many reasons people get divided. But please continue.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's you know, this is even a call for, because it also happened in Tuesday's class where, you know, we really have to go back to what Noble Drew Ali, because we're starting to get into all these other stuff and neglecting the Prophet again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Right? And he's the only one that said that he brought us everything to save a nation. And when he said that, he wasn't holding up law dictionaries and all that. He was holding up his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't holding up etymology dictionaries and whatever. He was holding up his stuff. So there has to be a U-turn to go back and get some of the Prophet stuff, and then, you know, U-turn again, and because those lessons are to correct these same type of issues.
Mm-hmm.
The lessons in the Quran are to correct the issues. The lessons in the Red Book are to correct the issues that we have with self, that we have with each other, that we have with mom, dad, friends, acquaintances, enemies, Allah, and man. Right? The hero, the most renowned of human character, what is he but the bubble of his weakness? The public is unstable and ungrateful. Why should the man of wisdom endanger himself for fools? The man who neglected his present concerns to revolve how he will behave when greater, feedeth himself with wind, while the bread is eaten by another.
That is a fact.
Because her loyalty is a different kind of loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when it goes into the thing with Jwali saying, you know, give her 2 apples. because you know,
oh man, yeah, they chopping you again, bro. They chopping you again.
they got to do it.
Yeah. You still choppy, man. But we're gonna concentrate the energy. You know what I mean? Block the frequencies to your phone and things like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. I think that that's absolutely correct. Whereas, you know, there's different. It's a circle. It's a cipher. You could break that down many ways, you know, but it's still the same thing. So you could break it down 180, 180. You know, you got two halves. You could break it down 90, 90, 90. You got 4 quarters. You know, so when you're dealing with the math of situations in the cipher and time and things of that nature, you know, this is what tends to happen. And then, you know, there's some people who are constant. You know what I mean? Like you was bringing up the instability of men, which, you know, instability of mind. You have some sisters who are very stable and will do that. You know what I mean? That's true. But then, you know, this goes back to this being the social remedies. The social remedies, you know, or the remedies. And when I say that, I mean, you know, as we deal with each other as a nation, you know, they were really left in the circle 7. Like, and that is truth. They was left right there, you know, and then, you know, you know what's right and what's wrong. You know, people know what's right and what's wrong, but to actually see it, you know, like affirmed in writing, you know, in a whole different century, you're like, damn, these problems are not new. These thoughts, these emotions, these feelings are not anything new. People have been dealing with this for millennia. You know what I mean? This struggle between higher self and lower self, between, you know, loyalty and you know, what people call disloyalty, and, you know, from the lowest status of society politically to the highest purity, all of these things, right? This is something that has been on the minds for centuries, you know, and these thoughts get put to the back as if they don't matter, which is why we can see the results of the fact that people have not had civics, because what we're talking about right now in all reality is civics. This is civil law when you're talking about the Circle 7 Holy Quran. He gave you civics, and he said there was laws, and it was to be enforced, you know what I mean, by the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, but not just that, by Moors, period. That's international universal law. So, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't that be enforced? And that's really what it is. So we're talking, again, you know, moral lessons, which are laws, right? Because all laws, you got to remember, when you're talking ancient law, we got ancient law, ancient jurisprudence that we see reflected in the Constitution. But then you got ancient laws and principles and civics that had nothing to do with the Europeans, because we were here way before they were even thought of, according to the records I've checked, according to, you know, the history that was left, you know, the pale skin nations of Europe. There were times when there was law, and the European, a policy for a European was not even in mind, because they weren't even here. And that's a real fact. So you had laws, right, that people had to deal with amongst each other. Like, for not even, when you're talking ancient laws, because when you see on the Great Seals ab antiquo, right, from ancient, we're talking ancient principles that are not really, you know, these are things that will definitely help you get through life with a more clear conscience, if, you know, you can do the best to uphold your portion of understanding or action on them. Because, you know, we could read the same thing and perceive it different ways, but again, those are the treasures of Allah, as it was stated, that the gifts of understanding, that's the treasures of Allah. That's the gold. That's the value, the wealth. That is definitely what is missing. You know what I mean? This is why people have certain, what do you want to call lower level thinking, because they're not dealing with the ancient. This is social problems, family problems. All of this comes from a lack of what? Civics and ancient law. That's it. You can prevent a lot by knowing that. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not saying, go run tomorrow and join any organization. I'm not saying don't not support. I'm just saying really look at these lessons for yourself, internalize them, and then, you know what I mean, use that as your gauge for life. Because certain situations will present themselves to you and be like, nah, the lesson said, and then there's other times where you're like, I got to do, you know what I mean, whatever, I'm going to do this because, and, however you struggle with your higher self and lower self, that is your battle. That's definitely for you. But what I'm saying is that can affect others, if you're not on it like that. So, it's the reason why certain people can't, be with or, socialize with or harmonize with, because the frequency is not the same. But though you can raise people's vibrations, by giving them that love, giving them that light. That's another thing, speaking of relationships. I think that people wait too long to love, and I'm not saying anybody should be a sucker for love and, in this, starry-eyed phase. I'm talking about that's the first principle, all right? You was created in your mother's womb in that principle. So sticking in Noble Drew Ali, they leave that principle first: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, we could take that in different aspects, but what I'm saying is, don't be so hateful first. You know what I mean? Like, that will get you somewhere. You know what I mean? That will definitely get you somewhere. If you're really walking with that first principle, love, that'll get you somewhere, like really, really well. But then again, you've heard the old saying, people used to say, oh, but you got haters. And it comes from a lack of knowing ancient civil law, ancient jurisprudence, which is what Noble Drew Ali was pointing out to Moors, who at that time were congregating in the appellation of those congregations for people to get the lessons he was dispensing. You went from Old Canaanite Temple, Moor's Holy Temple of Science, Moor Science Temple of America. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying was, at first where they were congregating, they had a specific appellation. So those who were there at that time, all right, when he first started laying down civics and law, lessons that we needed to know, this is who, and not that it wasn't perpetual, but when that came out, when he tailored the Circle 7 and divinely prepared it, somewhere between, 1865 or 13 and 1929, or we could even say 1865, the year he was born. That was probably in progress. To be respectful, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, somewhere in that time, there were people who were living in, that was the law that they were living by at that particular time. And some people, and this is not to cast judgment, this is just to show some of the problems that keep dividing us, is that it's like, it's not knowing the core lessons. So it's like, if you go to work at a so-called job, right, whatever it is you're doing, usually they give you a handbook, right, and they, maybe 5 days of training. You're not going to learn everything in the 5 days, but you do 5 days of training. They, orient you so that you have some idea of what it is that is expected of you to be done. You know what I mean? Or how you're expected to contribute to being amongst those people who are achieving a different mission that is going to, at the end of the day, compensate you in some sort of way you've agreed to, right? So you get a handbook, and everybody who comes in gets the same thing. Like, everybody got their handbook. Some people didn't read it, you know what I mean? Some people did. The trainer made them read it, you know what I mean, before they even did anything else, you know, and other things like that. So, you know, what I'm saying is that same aspect of uniformity amongst people in any type of uniform fashion, there's a certain standard that we have to always keep in mind, no matter, you know what I mean? This is what can strengthen relationships, make them or break them, etc. And I'm not going to say, you know, as far as the relationship aspect, you're going to love, you're going to want a quote-unquote intimate relationship with anybody, any sister that read it, you know what I mean, or any brother that read it. You just know what's expected of them because they might already be in a situation with another Moor, and there's laws that go with that. But again, consent is everything. So, you know, with that said, Cujo, man, are you good, bro? You back?
Islam, I'm here.
Islam, noble. Indeed.
How's it running now?
Say that again.
Oh, it's still choppy?
Just a little bit. You sound way better than what it was when you last were speaking.
True.
Yeah, so just go in. I'll let you know if it gets unbearable again.
All right.
And then we could take
with
some
regard
callers.
to yeah, just before we take the callers, with regard to the preparation of the self-healing manual, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or Moorish Holy Temple of Science, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind that it's also, you could also look at it like 3 books, because the divine instructions is separate from the whole Jesus 18 years and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all you have to read. That's what it is right there.
Yeah.
Those holy instructions are your employee manual.
Yeah.
That you should probably read, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. Because there's even people who call with issues that the answers in the Quran. So it's going to the individual like, hey, I notice a pattern of, you know what I mean, deceit always up. You know what I mean? I just want to bring that to your attention that I noticed a pattern. No, that's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? Because to each his own. Every once nobody's violating anybody, you know, seat up ain't no big deal. You know, just put the seat down. What's the problem? You know,
yeah.
Again, it comes back to the morality and you know, do you really
starting to sound chopped out again, bro?
All right, I'll yield, yo. We could do the calls right now since it's tripping.
All right, bet. That's what it is, man. We might have to. We're going to do the calls. Definitely going to do the calls, and let's focus the energy on getting the Sheiks, Grand Sheiks, line, you know, electricity up over there. Good signals. So for now, and thank you, caller 347-489 for calling in from the beginning. Hope you have some add-ons to this. But caller 347-489. You live on the air. You with us?
Islam. I'm just listening to the convo and about the situation with the female and the male. It's all based on their level of morality within themselves and what they're dealing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on it. That's my take on it, because everybody is at a different level at different times of their lives. So some are still living in the lower, some are still living in the lower, and some are coming out of the lower, entering into the upper their upper self, trying to balance out. But within that, they still have the fight. So I don't know if the sister was trying to just go for herself, or the brother was going for himself while the other brother was locked down. There could be many situations and thoughts on it of how they came together and created that being. So
right,
it's a matter of the mind, because man is mind, right?
Man is mind. And another one of the ingredients is that from knee high to a grasshopper. Remind yourself that too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But before
being affiliated with each other in time past, growing up. So that could have been an issue as well. But just because that was the issue, that doesn't mean because, hey, we knew each other from time past that we're able to do this and make this work. That doesn't work all the time.
Doesn't work all the time. Nope.
Because I've been in that situation, so I know it don't work from experience. As far as dealing with somebody from my past, growing up with and trying to establish something, and it just didn't work because the past was the past as a friend, not in the realm of a relationship or the joining together of as trying to be one. So it's all based on where each person is at in their mental. And if their mental is not correct or jiving with the other, it's not going to work. Because one could be in their higher and the other's in their lower, and that's definitely not going to work because the one in the higher does not have the patience or the time to try to pull that one out of their lower, because that's not their job. Their job is to try to give support, but if that person does not want to come out of their lower, the higher has to step back. The one in the higher has to step back and let that person evolve on their own, because they have to move on. So that's my take on it, brother. And this is Winston Demetrius Bey from Northwest Alexa, New York Corporation. Islam. I yield the floor.
Moor, thank you for your add-on. Highly appreciate it. Highly appreciate that. All right.
Islam.
So, Islam, Noble. All right. That being said, bro, we're going to move on to caller 719-964. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, greetings. This is Brother Bokhari calling from Northwest of Mexico.
Indeed. Islam, Noble.
Peace and love, Moor.
Islam. Peace and love, Grand Sheikh. Peace and love, Brother Mizraim. Wonderful show. Yes, wonderful show. And I just, I had to call in and respond. I think this is a wonderful topic, and it's extremely important, especially for the young people coming up, that they hear older brothers talking about things like this so that they don't get it twisted, because a lot of them haven't, didn't have homes or didn't get this kind of information in the home. And so a lot of this stuff is totally foreign to them, and they're living off of what they just getting from the street life. So I think that this is an extremely wonderful topic. And my take, the few cents that I'd like to add is that I've had situations where, I had to walk the other way. I had to totally remove myself from dealing with a brother because of a female that was, giving me the eye, in my youth. And it's as I've grown, one of the things that I would like to point out is that when you look at your actions, like when you think about what it is that you're going to do or what it is that you're not going to do, I would strongly recommend looking at thinking long term. So if you're going to lay with a woman, she has the potential of getting pregnant. If you are a Moor, and if you're about nationality, then that means that you are concerned about certain protocols and procedures, like Brother Mizrahi mentioned, or at least you should be. And you should be, concerned about nationhood, progeny. So those two things, progeny and nationhood, are extremely important to the future. So now you have a brother in a situation, or a sister that is incarcerated or has been kidnapped, rather, in prison, and they, reaching out to you for help. You just can't blame. This is going to be not only on the individual who decides to, lie with whoever is on the outside, because both parties are going to be at fault here. It's not one or the other. It's both parties. That's a mutual decision by both individuals to, like in this hypothetical, situation, or was that situation true, or did it actually happen with you, Brother Miz?
No, that's all facts I was speaking. All of this is a true story. Just realized it this week.
Oh, okay.
Just this week. This is real talk we're talking here. Yeah.
Wow.
This is real talk. This is not nothing made up, all facts.
So when that individual comes out, let's say that you would have made the decision to go ahead and lay with that sister. Now, who knows when that brother comes out, he's never going to forget that. He is never going to forget that. And that will more than likely impact the nation if he decides to become an active Moor, because now he may not ever want to deal with you. And again, so that speaks directly to your point. Now you don't have now you have two potentially strong brothers. Let's say that, his energy is really high, he's really intelligent, and he has a lot of gifts that he could bring to the family. On the other side, he may be totally dissuaded now from even engaging in any sort of activity. You see, because he's now hurt. He's totally hurt. And this is something that happens a lot within the so-called Christian church. Where people go into the church and they look up to the pastor, the so-called pastor, the priest, the minister, what have you, the deacon, and then the deacon is sleeping around with everybody, or somebody is sleeping around with everybody. So now that innocent individual now loses all focus, and absolutely has it has a totally detrimental effect. It breaks them down, and so this takes away from the ability to have things such as teamwork. So now you have an individual that like you can't have teamwork. Like, so from a military perspective, that's why in the military, it's taboo. Like if you can get court-martialed for sleeping with another soldier's, wife or, spouse or what have you. You see. And I literally had to deal, with that personally myself, coming from my ex-wife. So, and though there was no, proceedings that, took place, but it was a really bad situation, so it not only affects, and I'll end this because I don't want to, stay on the, line all night, but it not only affects the relationship. It not only breaks down the dynamics in the relationships for the individuals involved, but also the extended group, whether it's a family group, whether it's a political group, whether it is a military institution, organization, etc. So when you talk about morality and when you talk about, character, these things aren't just there. Like these things weren't just whipped up, out of the blue. Like they have there are reasons why you don't do these things. It's not just some holy, wonderful, dynamic that everyone should cater to. No, but there's a long-term effects that and when you look at history, there are many stories how these types of things break down dynasties, break down kingdoms. This particular subject, in terms of who you choose to lay with, is one of the reasons Moors in Northwest Amexem were fighting against each other and weren't supporting each other. If you read, even if you read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, there are many situations where there are dynamics in the family structure, as a result of individuals who wanted power and wanted to maintain power, did certain things that they shouldn't have done, that their actions ultimately resulted in the downfall of the family. And so that's what I wanted to share. I thank you again for, bringing this wonderful topic up, and I yield the floor.
Islam, Noble. Thank you for calling in and adding on what you added on, because all of that is real. And I trust people go back and listen to this for the record, for sure. But indeed, we do have some more hands up. We got about 4 minutes left to the live feed, and the internet feed is shut down, but you can go back and listen to this on MHHS, Eyes Wide Open Blog Talk Radio, YouTube, the Najib Zafar L, tomorrow or something like that. But that being said, man, I highly thank you for your call, and we're going to move to the next caller. All right. Caller 443 and 769. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam. I am Hassan RVBey at Northwest Amexem, and
Brother Divine Robinson L.
And also we have on the line too, Brother, as you guys may know him on the Facebook, Brother Patrick Etheridge. You wanted to say your greetings, Brother Patrick?
Greetings, everyone. Islam, peace and love.
Peace and love, Nobles. All right.
Islam.
Cool. Yeah.
We was actually calling this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All righty. We was calling. First of all, Miz, hey. How are you, beloved? How are you? And Queen Joe, how are you, beloved? I was saying, I know what the topic is, and I will say first and foremost, being very well, I guess, seasoned in that obstacle or whatever, it's actually very strengthening. It's an opportunity to get over your ego. It's an opportunity, really, it's more of an opportunity than an actual snatching. I know it hurts, you know what I mean? Like, dang, man, I was with this, I was with that, but at the end of the day, man, we're stewards. We're sons, we're stewards. We're enforcers. So sometimes when those situations happen, there's actually a gift, if we're not so, spoiled about, not to kind of like segue, but not to like give like so-called super tough love, but really that's just an obstacle to really see how strong we can actually be, because this is about not letting people get in your head. Like, when I hoop, like, it's funny, me and Brother Devon was, like, hooping on Tuesday. And what's the most important thing is not letting people get in your head, for real. Like, that's really what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us. He brought us an opportunity to not let people get in our head. Like, he even told you, like, if I could just get you to think, you could say it yourself. So if we, like not in lower self in our emotions, you know what I mean, we'll have an opportunity to be clear and be able to see that, you know what, there's an opportunity for me to not to have maybe something a little extra on me that would probably hinder where I'm actually really about to travel to or where I need to be going in my so-called destiny or destination in life. But not to segue, but I did want to segue because Brother Patrick had texted me while we was listening to the call, and it had to deal with his appellation. Now, for those that don't know Brother Patrick, we just want to keep it totally 100, but, you know, all the praises due to Mommy, all the praises due to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all divine prophets. Brother Taurus Nassim, if you're listening, you know, Islam to you as well, and Brother Moor. Brother Patrick is a Muslim son. He's one of our Albion sons. But and has put some videos out there on YouTube literally letting everybody know what the deal is. You know, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, the European is helping me, aren't you? You know, and that's fact. So I wanted to bring the brother on the line when he texted me. So I said, look, man, I'm about to call you on three-way because it was about a question that he had, right? So, Brother Patrick, I wanted to yield the floor to you, and I wanted you to ask the question that you had asked because
let me just say this, though. Brother Patrick, Brother Hassan, and everybody listening, we would like to keep this conversation on the tone that we set it on, and that's just the facts.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about your appellation or anything like that, I'm going to ask you to call in Tuesday on the MHHS Eyes Wide Open, and that's not even to be funny, but we're channeling this energy in a certain direction. So if your question is not, or your add-on is not on the premise that we set for this show tonight, please save your question for Tuesday's blog. That's all I'm saying from the rip, and that's all due respect. Will we clear?
For sure.
Yes.
We are.
All right?
I'm not quite
outside of that, you got to call back Tuesday.
All right, well, I'll just do that. What time does it start?
At 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you could call in, same number. Hassan, you know how to get in. You know how to call. If they can't get in, it seems that you call with multiple people on the line. If you get in, you all get in. So you could do it like that. But we're going to keep this channel where we set it at. No disrespect. We usually take those questions. But you never heard us talking like this before, so we're going to keep it there. All right?
Indeed. Thank you so much, man.
Indeed. All right. Peace and love. All right. One. All right, Islam. And with that being said, before I go into our next couple of callers, I just want to say, you know, this discussion is open for sisters, too. So I'm hoping some sisters, you do raise your hand, because you're not excluded from this if you have a perspective that you want to share from a woman's perspective or whatever. All of that is all of that is welcome to this particular build. This is for, you know, all of us to analyze, maybe the youth who might come behind and listen to this, maybe get different perspectives, all is well. So with that being said, call it 347-443. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam. I'm Sharisa Maru Marcy Ill, calling from Northwest Amexem.
All right.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right.
I wanted to thank you guys for really talking on this. It's been a crazy day for me, just personally. You know, I'm coming back from the hospital. A friend of mine going through he had knee surgery and it got infected. So, you know, he caught a fever and everything, but you know, Allah does his magic, you know, so he's well. But in the waiting room, as we were there in the ER waiting for him to go up to the room, you know, we was talking about loyalty. And it's just kind of crazy, you know, this kind of conversation that I didn't even know you. I missed my mind that, you know, it was the last Thursday. But I got reminded, somebody reminded me, so I got right when, I tuned in right when Cujo was going into jeopardizing your life with a fool. And this is like so on point. That quote is so on point. Just reflecting back on experiences that I've had, where I entrusted a fool. And I think I'm just saying, I'm saying all of this because it's like, just the conversation that I had with my friends. Just touching on that, with loyalty and how frail that is, but yet how strong it can be and hold up so much. You know what I mean? That strength of loyalty. And then it's like coming into this movement, for me, I didn't even necessarily read anything about Noble Jew Ali thoroughly, but one thing I did know that this movement was about was love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it was like off of that alone, I geared all the energy that I have in pushing that forward, and so you get to meet people and you really get to socialize with those who you kind of long for, in a sense, like you want people that you can be on a common level, what you would seem as a sane ground, with everything that's going on within the municipal jurisdiction and how people are caught up in that. So it's like just running into people who actually get it, on a different level. It's a feeling that can be euphoric and yet misleading at the same time because of how easy it is to gain access to this information and how manipulative people can be with the information. I'm saying all of this to say just, like Brother Cujo touched on, jeopardizing your life with a fool. I'm saying this as somebody who learned my lesson from that, When you have a feeling, when you have an gut reaction, an instinct, like you guys are touching on, you were talking like there's a pattern that emerges, and it's undeniable. It doesn't matter. Like when someone shows you who they are, believe them. It comes down to that. It really does come down to that. And if I may, there was I was researching some stuff, and I was looking up the term equity. And, the things you guys was touching on reminded me of that word. So I'm going to read a little bit of the definition of equity. And, of course, it's from fourth edition Black Law Dictionary. And it's extensive, but, just the first paragraph, it states, in its broadest sense, in its broadest sense and most general signification, this term denotes the spirit and the habit of fairness, justness, and right dealings with which would regulate the intercourse of men with men, the rule of doing to all others as we desire them to do to us, or as it is expressed by Justinian, to live honestly, to harm nobody, to render to every man his just due. It is therefore the synonym of natural right or justice. It goes on to say that it belongs in the sphere of morals. And I mean, there's a lot that can be touched on in this, but overall, when it comes down to the equity, that the worst that one really has within themselves, and they push that forward for others to want to invest in. That's so important. And in touching in that, you really got to deal with your higher self. If you're trying to be equitable, if you're really trying to be about something better, you have to be equitable, and it has to start with the individual. Once again, it is something that got to be brought forth. And I do thank you guys for having this as a talking point. you know, the experiences that I've had has been traumatic for me. And it is a blow when you think you can trust somebody, you think they're equitable, you know, but then because of, I suppose, you know, you want to kind of be naive on something, you know, you neglect your righteous mind and you jeopardize your life with the fool. I don't want anybody to have to experience what I went through. Word. It was not a positive experience. It was not. And I'm speaking about somebody who claims to be a Moor, been in this movement, knows Noble Jew Ali, knows the history of women, knows how high of a standard women are held within this, you know, 20 plus years adepts, as he claims, you know, to all the women and the men, anybody, women or men, if you have a feeling that they're not equitable, and it, you know, it takes common sense to see it, you know what I mean? It really does. If you have that feeling, don't ignore it. You know, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. The pattern will always show itself. So, you know, I just wanted to touch on that. And again, thank you for talking about this. You know, thank you for talking about this.
No problem. Before you go, I gotta ask you this question, only because we do have some more callers, and I'm trusting that, you know, maybe some more sisters are on the line now or will call in. But, you know, I was thinking, you was just talking about, you know, being with somebody you thought was equitable and was not. And being as though you're the first sister to call in on the show tonight, or the broadcast tonight, I would like to ask you, as a solution, right, you being a woman, right, as a solution, do you think that, like, women should bring the standard back of making men court them? Or do you think, you know anything, you know about that, right? Like, you know, you don't just get with somebody because, oh, they look good, oh, they got on the Moorish fez and they got on the Moorish flag. Like, that's not what, you know, I mean, those are, they have their purpose, but you don't get into a relationship with somebody just because of that. So what I'm saying is, do you think that on the civics level, right, because there was a time where you couldn't, it's no way, it wasn't even, it was unheard of. If you weren't known amongst your peers for at least, you know what I mean, at minimum a year, you know what I mean, all right, somewhere around there, like, there was nothing going down. There's no way that you're like, you know, people do that now. Today is different. People have the right to do what they do and always have. But what I'm talking about is when you say, okay, I'm going to be with this person, you don't make that choice in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. That's not something that, like, you might know it's something real off the jump. You like, oh, yeah, okay, this is what you're about. I see how that could be, you know, what I could bring to that life, or how that life could be beneficial to me, or et cetera. You know what I mean? And then you just see how it grows from there. But it's not like, you know, first night you googly eye accepting the ring type of thing. You know what I mean? Without a ring being presented type of thing. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say that, do you think that sisters, to bring back the standard, and pardon me, brothers, this is no disrespect, I'm talking to the civilized on this one, you know what I mean? I know there's a cardinal body of desires that we deal with, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to go Spike Lee. This is a conversation for posterity. So, you know, excuse your carnal body of desires in this particular conversation, because we know what happens regardless. But I'm just saying that, what do you think? Do you think brothers should be coming like that? Like, that shouldn't be the first thing they're looking after? Or sisters shouldn't be coming like that? That shouldn't be the first thing? Or do you think that the first attraction should be what you go off of? I mean, like, you know, but you could be attracted to different things. Don't get me wrong. What makes you want to be around or be with that person? But what I'm saying is, your first attraction, you know, your second reaction to your first attraction might not always be something, sexual or a sexual thought. You know what I mean? But that can grow out of many other reactions to the attraction, if you get what I'm saying. Meaning, like, damn, I do this, you know what I mean? I make peanut butter, you got bread. Then we could do something, you know what I mean? And, I'll suggest your bread on my peanut butter logo, and you suggest my peanut butter on your bread logo. Now, we know that's a business aspect, but you have a chemistry to come together for. Somebody might be attracted to that, you know what I mean, and not necessarily. So do you think that the attraction, and I'm going to leave you with this question, do you think that the attraction should always be what you think carnally of that person, or do you think it's more of the spirit man that will cause better relationships to manifest? What's your thoughts?
Well,
as a woman,
to answer that
question,
I know, from my own personal experience, that spiritual attraction is always going to supersede a cardinal attraction, and if you're, regardless of what your vibe may be, if it is cardinal or spiritual, if it's genuine, it will withstand regardless of whatever, It's like going back to, my experience, the more that I'm referring to in this instance, we didn't do anything for like 8-9 months. We would link up, do some more, we would build on some more stuff. We started, what really got us to get close was because he had a book that he wanted edited, and I was looking for a way for me to be active and to really get my name out there. The prophet said, in order to change the people, change the literature. I thought it was a good opportunity. The more he knows his history, he knows his stuff. You know what I mean? So I saw it as a good build. So off of that build, we got close off of that, and the attraction grew from there. But then it's like after 9 months, it got a little bit more intimate, and then from there, like after 2 months, where we actually really spent a lot of time, not really discussing like Moorish affairs all the time necessarily. You really start to know them like personally after that, and I didn't like the person that I was seeing. I didn't, So from there, it just went downhill from that. Yeah.
Now, just to add on, real quick, and then not to cut your wisdom, but it's a lesson as we spoke of earlier today, right? Well, we were speaking of the lessons of the Circle 7. That being the case, it's a part in the Circle 7. We was talking about how all the remedies are in that. And I want to leave you with this. Because you said you wanted to, edit a book for the brethren and, get your name out there. But keep this in mind. It's not necessarily about getting your name out there. Because in the Circle 7, it says a mastermind never screens himself for the sake of reputation. That's a jewel.
Indeed.
That's a jewel indeed. So, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, brothers who be gassing sisters, etc., and whatever's going on, whatever, like, don't get blinded by the promise of notoriety. I'm talking to the young sisters out there, or anybody who this knowledge can be, useful for. Don't let anybody gas you off the fame of notoriety, because, again, you won't let that happen when you got the handbook. You know what I'm saying? When you got the manual, you feel what I'm saying, which is the Circle 7, you wouldn't be doing that. And I'm not blaming you. I'm talking about that could be anybody. That could have been a brother. You know what I'm saying? For them, too. Don't screen yourself in this for the sake of reputation. When you do that, your premise, your foundation is faulty. And you can't build on it if it's not love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that goes for anybody. So I just wanted to add that on again, that the remedies for prevention, the solution to these problems was in fact and indeed left in the Circle 7. And that's a fact.
True
so,
indeed.
You know,
very true. Very true, very true. And you know, it's like I'll even speak to that on, you know, that is probably another lesson learned within that situation. You know what I mean? Because of me wanting to you know, the drive of wanting to be an active Moor and really make it be known, like, you know, I'm out here, I'm doing it, I'm not sleeping, you know, nothing passive over here, you know what I mean? Like, you really get into this mode of wanting to just prove yourself. And that's really what I was in, you know, my mind state. That's where it was at. I was not just, you know, and it really wasn't for others, more so just myself. And that, and even in that, even in that, just wanting to prove something to myself so bad, it led to a detriment. You know, everything has to be about balance, and you're so right in saying that the remedies is in the Circle 7. I was even speaking, you know, I got the privilege to speak with Taj about this. You know what I mean? Like, how much is in the Circle 7? Somebody was asking Taj, you know, what are the steps to open a temple? You know, and I replied, I said, learn your Circle 7 from front to back. You know, and he made a comment. He's like, oh, well, you know, that there's more to it than just that. And it's like, it don't even make sense to talk to people and you don't know the basis of what's going on in that Circle 7, because those are our laws. Within the Circle 7 are our laws. That's what we're supposed to be living by. 100. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody would be bickering, nobody would be upset. There wouldn't be nothing for nobody to argue about if we just adhere to the principles, you know. But again, it just comes down to people really just regulating themselves and learning themselves, understanding, you know, the higher versus the lower. You know, and I think that's mainly why I deal with astrologics as much as I do, because in understanding, you know, Zudakaius, I like, you really see yourself, and you can't hide from that once you see yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, everything, all aspects is laid out in front of you, and it's like, you got to deal with it, you know? And that is our test. You know, that is our test. It says it right there in the Circle 7. The first chapter, every man, you know, man must pass through, like, toils multiple times fold, you know. And it's something that within those trials you'll learn and you'll perfect yourself in that instance, you know. But it's a growing pain. It really is. And it doesn't stop, you know, because we are forever a student. And it does come down to humbling yourself in most cases. Very, like, you know, that's just how it goes. That is just how it goes.
Humble yourself. That's what it is. You gotta humble yourself. You know what I mean? This is not about reputation. You know what I mean? It's never about that. And it's not about brothers abusing sisters either, in any sense. You know what I mean? Or sisters abusing brothers, or, you know, whatever, or both of them abusing the children, etc. This is not about that. You know what I mean? This is for prevention of that. So that's, you know, like into a plant, seeds can grow, you know what I mean, and flourish well. So, yeah, for sure. That being said, I'd like to thank you for adding on, you know what I mean, and we're going to go on to the next caller. All right?
Indeed.
Cujo, you
Have
there,
a good night,
bro?
family. Peace and love.
Islam. Yeah, I'm here.
Right. All right, look, you sounding clear now. Oh, yeah, you sounding clear now. Well, it's really good. You want to add on before I go in?
Straight. You go in, next caller. But Islam for calling in, sis.
Yes. All right. So that being the case, caller 256-320. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
I am. Islam Cujo. This is my aunt.
Islam, Sister Ma'at. Thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you. It's my aunt day, and I am at Northwestern Exum. This is a very good topic, and I wanted to chime in on what happened to you and those of us learning, keeping in mind the divine side of things, because what we do affects us and everybody outside of us. A lot of times we don't see that. But let's just say that situation happened, and like Brother Bakari brought up, and like the sister and sister, I hate that happened to you, and I'm so glad that you're continuing to learn and be strong. As Sister Anna-Ida would say, it's just time for us to look at ourselves and fix what we need to fix and, move on, just learn our lessons. So thanks so much for calling in and sharing that with us personally. But we affect outside people, and let's just say that situation happens and we have an awake Moor, and then we have a Moor that's with this Moor that's not awake. Well, when they find out what happens and they feel dishonored or abused, if we think about it, haven't we, in a way, killed that person's birthright? Now, I know that's a strong statement, but if that person decides to go way left because we decided to live outside of our divine, or we've decided to a point not to study up enough to get ourselves where we need to be, and we're making decisions and we're out here, speaking and presenting ourselves in one way, that when this person sees us, it causes them to not even want to attempt to claim their birthright. And, when I hear you, your mother, Anna-Ida, and Cujo speak, we're always talking about how this is our progeny. Okay, let's say that sister is pregnant. Have we not just killed her and her progeny, or him and maybe his progeny? If he's, with someone who did the same thing, then I hope that was clear. I just think a lot of times we need to think about how we will affect our brothers and sisters in learning. If they're new, if they're old, what if this affects them so much that we kill them spiritually and they're not out here doing what they need to do? And I just thought that really needed to be brought to the table, too. I think, personally, you did the right thing. I am okay with communal marriages, but I think I know it's what Cujo said. It's about having that agreement from the start. If that agreement is not there from the start, then we're getting into lies, we're getting into hurt feelings, and we're just causing a big ripple effect, that we don't have to cause. And, again, we could be affecting someone else's, birthright. So I hope that was clear, and I really appreciate the time that you gave me to speak.
Absolutely, and I thank you for calling in and adding that on. But I would like to add on, just in case if that wasn't clear for anybody, I just would like to add on to what you were saying as far as killing somebody. You know what I mean? Because in law, there's something called civil lit mortus, which means continuing both in civil and physical existence. Now, let's keep in mind that your mind state can affect your physical body. So, like, if somebody is stressed out about something, that can affect the organ. Now they can't function right. So they're not in full life at this point because they're not continuing in both civil and physical existence. The physical is being affected from what happened to the mental. So if they don't know how to deal with that, harness that energy, that starts to stress them out, and then it can affect the organ. It is a process because now they're dealing with, some people take that different ways. Some people might take that simply in a jealous fashion. You know what I mean? Now they mad at the brother because he, did that, right? And then you got some people who would take that in the hold on, I don't know why it's saying 90 seconds. This live feed goes all the way down in 90 seconds. That's not us, man. I don't know what's up with that. But I just wanted to say that civil mortus aspect Hold on, I don't know. Somebody talking? Because the civil mortis aspect can come in from what happens mentally. It's not all about, physical. So I want to say it's saying 60 seconds. I trust it don't go down. You know what I mean? Call it 210. I still see you. Please keep your hand up. If this goes down in the next minute, keep in mind that MHHS, Eyes Wide Open Principles of Nationality and Action. You know what's crazy, y'all? The internet feed is going down in an hour. I don't know why I'm tripping. I'm thinking half an hour. I'm thinking, I don't know why I was thinking at 10:30 we was in the last hour. I'm thinking 30. I don't know. Pardon me. That's me. So we still good. Everybody who called in, we still good. I was looking at the 30s. It feel like we've been talking about this forever. But I was thinking Tuesday. I'm thinking Tuesday half an hour. But cool. So, yeah, what I was saying is that the civil mortis aspect can come in from mental abuse. You know what I mean? Because now physically something that mental abuse can cause mental apoplexy, meaning that somebody would not be so willing to, make moves a certain way, to do certain things, because the apoplexy is mental. So, you're dealing with a spiritual type of warfare as well. And then people who don't know how to take things, how to, perceive things, to always get, because everybody might not take the lesson out of it. Some people might take feelings out of it. So therefore, they might want to hurt a brother. They might want to kill somebody because something like that happened. I'm not saying fear anybody. I'm just saying that, you can put somebody on a different frequency by the way you affect what it is that you would bring to their life. So, that person might not be able to take complaints. Mentally, they got so much shit on their mind, they can't hear your complaints. And your complaints can wear them down. It can. You know what I mean? It really can. So, and I'm not saying that in any, way of, different aspects of satisfying them. They might just have problems that you're not willing to entertain. You can't entertain that because you're on a different frequency. You can't relate to somebody else's, problem, quote unquote, when you're dealing with things that might be threatening your life and you're looking for remedies for that. But if you're always around people who are, basically adopting a loser mentality, that can make a winner become a loser. And now they can't continue in their civil existence because the environment, you got to remember, environment affects things. And I say, on a minimum scale, my environment right now is a little junky, but I ain't like filthy, but I'm just saying, it's different things. So, different things affect people. And when you was talking about killing people, the mentality of being civil mortis, civilly dead in the eyes of the law, that's not a joke. You know what I mean? That comes through a mentality. How does that mentality come about? Through different attacks and mental infirmities or mental stabilities. So you got to keep that in mind that, when you speak in that language, that has an aspect that if people don't understand, they need to look up civil mortis and then think about it, because it's not just saying continuing in civil existence. It's also talking about physical existence. Oh, no, excuse me. That's the definition of in full life. It says, continuing in both physical and civil existence. So when you're being in full life, if you can't live with something, if something is bothering you, if something is parasitic to a person, whether you're right or wrong, if it's parasitic to them, this can affect them. You know what I mean? And that's the real truth. So, I agree with you when you say that can kill somebody, that can change somebody. That is the grief in the heart that man cannot heal, as Noble Drew Ali was speaking about, coming to the women and things of that nature, because these are civics, these are lawful principles. So imagine you in the room with your best friend, and your best friend, or let's say you're a male, right, and you think that you know, your woman is quote unquote your woman. This is your thought process. Y'all have a mutual agreement of an exclusive relation and things like that, right? Now, don't get me wrong. When I say you're female, I'm not speaking of an aspect of being possessive to where somebody owns somebody else, because I really think that sometimes, you know, I could just say at least for me, I'm not trying to tell somebody what to do, because to me there's a certain aspect of relationships that correlate with slavery. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'll be like, okay, you got to do what you feel is real. I'm not going to, whatever, do you. I'm not here to tell you what to do, because I don't want nobody to tell me what to do. If you don't feel like I feel, then we don't feel the same way, and that's cool with me. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. I might suggest, hey, you might not want to do that because of this. But I'm at the point now where I'm not telling nobody what to do. You know what I mean? It's either genuine or it's not, because there's certain aspects, like I said, of slavery that goes with that. Like, I don't want nobody telling me what to do and what not to do and what time I should be home and all types of just wild stuff. Now, at a certain age, that might be respectable. You know what I mean? But, you know, overall, you wanna do you. You know what I mean? There's certain things we still that, you know, need to be done. Like, so it's like, for me, I don't want to treat somebody how I don't want to be treated. So my thing is, you know, you got to make the decision of your loyalty, because that's not something somebody can necessarily demand or exact. There has to be a motive to want to be like, that has to be in the hard wire. That has to be in you, or, you know, influenced or inspired or whatever. So what I'm saying is, there's people in that status where, that mental status where, you know, if you affect or you know, intrude on their relations as they're seeing it, it can affect them mentally in the aspect you can't even fathom, because you're looking at it different. Your mental perception of the situation is different, and therefore you're not seeing it the same as them, and they're not seeing it the same as you, so you can't even fathom or harness that energy. But when you take a step back and look at the civics, look at the morality, the jurisprudence, the prudence of different things, you know, certain things you wouldn't allow to happen, you know, or you wouldn't endeavoring, because there's a million other situations like that. You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be your best man's wife or your husband's best man, and that. But you know, I'm not judging anybody who's been through that, and I want to make that clear. I'm not casting judgment. I'm just looking at it like this. But just for the record, before we go into the next caller, right? There's something Noble Drew Ali said in the Circle 7 about the lower self, the carnal desires, and going back to the premise of this conversation, which you was bringing back out. We talk about carnal desires. In law, there's something called carnal knowledge. And for Moors who have their reference tools on deck, page 268, Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary gives the definition of carnal knowledge. And carnal knowledge is coitus, copulation. In other words, having sex. You know, the act of a man in having sexual bodily connection with a woman. So imagine you're sitting in the room, you think this is your wife and y'all got an exclusive relationship, or you think this is your husband and y'all got an exclusive relationship, but the whole time your so-called best friend, unbeknownst to you, has carnal knowledge of your partner. If it's not an open communal thing, I think that's a violation. That's just me. I really think that's a violation. But this is law. So it says sexual intercourse. It goes in, there is carnal knowledge if there is the slightest penetration of the sexual organ of the female by the sexual organ of the male. It is not necessary that the vagina be entered or that the hymen be ruptured. The entering of the vulva or labia is sufficient. You know what I mean? Meaning you don't even got to go all the way in. Just the fact that, you know what I mean? That's carnal knowledge. That's a violation of not. Don't hold on. Let me make this clear. It's not a violation to have sex. Remind everybody who may have tuned in late that we're talking about being in the moral position of having sex with your quote-unquote best man or your best woman's friend. You know what I mean? Unbeknownst to your partner. But they in the same room looking each other in the face, sipping tea and wine like everything is fine and you're fronting. That's being colored. You get what I'm saying? So you know, please call in with the wisdom. But I just got a text from a noble that was saying, man, it's mine. So, therefore, if you thought, hold on, let me read. Hold on. Man is mine. Therefore, if you thought it, you have already done the act. That's mental. You know what I mean? So, I would say you haven't done the act, but necessarily you've already been in violation. You let that negative thought creep in. How they say in the Masonic orders, you got to place a sentinel at your thoughts, all right? What is that? That means you got to place a guard at your thoughts. What does that mean? Meaning that you talk in metaphysical lessons of not letting thoughts, certain negative thoughts in. You have your mind state, not that you're not open, but you have your perspective guarded, meaning that you know how they show you on the different cartoons, the angel on the left, the demon on the right shoulder, and all of this. It's higher, lower self. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Those are the sentinels. So if you got an angel and a demon as your sentinels placed at your thoughts, you know what I mean? It's about which one is stronger, which one, your higher self, lower self. So, you know, again, reproduction is a necessity. I'm not knocking sex. I'm talking about the morality of who you have those acts of coitus with, who you copulate with, things of that nature. Because, again, there's nothing wrong with sex being the strongest energy on the planet. That's the strongest creative force, right? Except for, you know, once that is achieved, the woman goes on to create what? Another being. You know what I mean? A reproduction. So all of that is a creative process, meaning that it's creative energy from the inception. As soon as you get carnal knowledge, you're dealing with the creative inception. So my thing is, it's about not abusing that, because what can happen is you gain carnal knowledge of your so-called brother or your so-called sister's mate, right? And then things go south after that. It's not, you know what I mean? You might be taking on certain energy that they shared. And it might not have been all bad, but I'm just saying that you don't know, you know, what you're really getting into when you do that. And with that being said, you know, that's my piece on it. Again, I have nothing on that act. I'm just talking about the moral aspect of who is with. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not knocking those who agree, and I'm emphasizing who agree with communal marriage, you know what I mean, and communal relationships. That's something ancient too. I'm not knocking that if everybody agree, because if it's not an agreement, that's what sisters like to call cheating. That's what brothers call cheating. These are things that, you know, they're not sincere. You know what I mean? Like, be sincere about it if that's what you're going to do. So, you know, all due respect to everybody, I'm not judging anybody. But, again, this is a conversation for posterity. If we can leave any more science on the halls of history. And I just, you know, that's what I have to say about it. So with that being said, I want to go into the next caller, Sister Ma'at. I thank you so much for calling in, still based off of the foundation of this conversation tonight. Islam.
Yep. Islam, thank you.
Islam. Peace. More. Cool, Joe. You sound a little clear now, man. You good? You want to add on, bro? Because you sound clear. We heard you say Islam clear.
Yeah, man, I'm straight, yo. Just get them calls done. How many more calls is there?
Yeah. We got 2 callers left. Somebody else just raised their hand. So, you know, we could get it.
On them.
Oh, we got 3 now. All right, everybody stay there. All right. Cool. Thank everybody for calling in, everybody who's listening now and who will listen to this in the future, etc. So call it 210-649. You're live on the air. Are you with us? peace and love. Call it 210-649. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Yes, Islam. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was just talking on mute. I'm sorry.
No,
this is RVBey, and I'm coming from Northwest of Maxim and near San Antonio territory. I just wanted to chime in, speaking from old school perspective.
That's what we need. We need that.
I think everything, well, from when I was growing up, they used to pair us together, and, you know, they were still doing that a little bit, you know, putting, you know, getting kids with other kids as you grow up. And, you know, they would always ask, well, who's your parents? You know, they always want to know who your parents were. But I think they were doing things decent and in order. I always hear that. You have to do things decent and in order. And now I think it's like we have allowed ourselves to follow after modern man, I guess, and slide and compromise our morality, I guess you would say. Yeah. And our morals, because it's just like we don't stop and think anymore. We just do what we see others do. And I think, I'm not saying so much with the nation, but there's a lot of things that that is going around, and it kind of seeps in, I think. But if we just stick to keep things in order the way, and follow, you know, the laws of the land and of, you know, noble duality, I think we'll be okay, you know, and where it goes about, you know, your it's an old saying, you have to be equally yoked. I think that's the same thing as, are we vibing together? But, yeah, it's like, if they're not on the same level you are, vibing at the same level you are, then I think you need to, like, forego that and just not even worry about it. I think you made the right decision. I think to me, I think women pick, it's kind of like, I don't know, women pick always, like if you're the alpha male, they always pick the alpha male first. I think in her eyes you were the alpha male, but she was like, no, that situation's not right. So she went to the next guy that was in the nation. So I think that's what happened there. But, you know, I think everything should be decent and in order. I think they should, you know, we should bring order back to, order back to the way we do everything, including relationships. Because if you think about it, the guy that she was with that's in prison, she's not being open with him, and that's going to affect him while he's doing time and after he get out. That's a long-lasting damage there you don't want to get into. And then not to mention the baby. It's just a lot of things that, you know, long-lasting effects that could happen.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, it's the baby, too, but it's not the baby's fault. And, you know, I'm not blaming anybody, but, yeah, these are facts. You know what I mean? Like, that can have long-lasting results because, you know, now if he see this boy or he see her or he see a child, now he's got to look at that memory. So that's something he's going to have to get over. You know what I mean? But, like, what do we know? I don't know. I mean, you know, I can't put myself in his shoes. But, you know, I'm not saying that he would be wrong for feeling some type of way. But I wouldn't. I don't know. Would you say that the sister is wrong? You know, for doing what she did because, you know, I don't know.
I would, you know, I don't know the whole situation, how her type of personality, but just from what I heard, I most definitely think she's wrong because you should. She's gotten into the nation, and so to me that says she wants to go back to the way things were, and raise her level of education and level of spirituality, just raise yourself up because we've fallen so far down. And I think that's what she does want, but I think she gets sidetracked, of maybe her feelings, for you gotten away or whatever. But I think she should have did the right thing, but we don't always do the right thing. But in the end, I think we should just love one another and keep everything in perspective and in order. And just, I love you, I care for you, I care for your baby, but, this can't be. I love you like a brother, but not like, so, yeah. I don't know. I think she was wrong.
Okay. All right. I can dig it. Indeed. We thank you so much for adding on. I appreciate you calling in and adding on to this conversation. Still relative to the premise. So much respect to you, sis. And we have we have some callers left. So, and we only have a couple of minutes. I'd like for them to put their perspectives on the record too. So I thank you so much. Yeah, we thank you much, for calling in and adding on. Yes. Islam. Indeed, for sure. All right. Caller 623-907. You're live on the air. Are you with us, ma'am?
I'm with you. Islam, Brother Miz and Brother Cujo. This is RVBey calling from
Mexico. Islam.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about you earlier today, but please go ahead, bro. Real facts, bro.
Yes, indeed, man. This is a great topic. Mm-hmm. What I want to say first and foremost, for me, and I like to use myself as an example all the time, we have to accept that we have a prophet and then live with our prophet. Mm-hmm. And understanding that and everything that the prophet brought us, and especially understanding our divine creed, our nationality, and our birthrights. All right. Now, saying that, the prophet brought us to Circle 7, and we have to understand, one of the most elegant and what I want to find here to say is that when we as human divine beings sit in retrospect and reflect on our on the life that we have lived, all right, and we evolve and we come into a certain knowledge, all right, and we sit in retrospect and look at that. That becomes one of the highest degrees of all the learning. This is my perspective, because you look back in retrospect and you should learn from that past experiences of life that you have lived, and from that own personal knowledge becomes that degree of knowledge becomes so powerful when you go forward from understanding that. And so I say that now to say when they said, you asked the question, was the sister wrong? Well, so much a question of right and wrong there, because the sister might have been working with, that might have been everything that the sister was working with in her depths of divine understanding, all right? And what I mean by that, the prophet brought us instructions for the children. Now, when the prophet brought us these instructions, he brought us these instructions, and at the time when he brought these instructions to a people that was lost here in North America, because he said he was a universal prophet, but I came to my people who needed me most. All right? So we was lost in that. So he brought that to a bunch of adults, a bunch of grown folks, all right? And bringing that, they had already lived their life, and now he was cleaning up their life and bringing them understanding and divine instructions, because this is divine instructions from the holy prophet, and it was divinely prepared. Understanding that and understanding power and force, and understanding the residual and how the residual of learning works, that in knowledge you might teach something, and then once something that was taught you, it carries a residual thing that later on it helps you. It'll come. So now he has instructions in here for how, now he brought this here to adults, and it was instructions in here how to raise your children. All right? And so now if we understand that, and at the time that he brought this here, it would took a time to raise our children and correct them. When we read chapter 23, when we read chapter the chapters on the warning to young men, all right, that in instructing them, you're giving them a moral compass. You helping to give them a compass, period. In morality, spirituality, it'll even go into maybe finance. It'll give them a compass, period. But it take a period of time. So had this sister been raised with somebody that understood what the prophet brought, and a mother and father that might have now, and I'm only saying this is because where I'm at in this cycle of life right now, that I have grandchildren and I'm watching them being born. And now if I say that I'm a Moor and I'm a scientist and I understand the science, and I understand the science of mates, polar opposites, and I understand these things now, then, and if we instruct and teach our children and we bring them up in those things, now we, and something like this happens, now we have to question these things. Was the science right? And we say the science is correct and exact. So if it happened, and we, and of course, our children are human, and we are all humans, feathered to fault. But you know, it's nothing wrong in the fault. As we used to say, it's nothing wrong with a sin. What the problems become is when you have knowledge that and you continue that sin, because we all are human. You know, we might fall short. But so with what the prophet, man, this is just another example. What I'm trying to bring forth is another example of how great the prophet was in coming to us and bringing us these instructions. So when a time comes in the life of a woman and a man and their situations, it might even help the brother from not going to allowing himself to be put in that situation. But we know the Romans and what they're doing also. But having had this instruction, though, we would have to think that understanding the science, that if you brought this instruction and you understand it and you taught it to your children and you teach your children these things and then they grow up with these things, then we would have to say that it would be different situations that we would find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so just the point that I'm was just wanted to express, you know, for the sister, for whatever reason, the sister might have, where you brought a point where is some sisters that back in the day we used to say, you know, they hook up with a brother and we used to say, man, that sister love hard. You know, it's some sisters that's built that way and might have just with that natural compass might wait for a brother for 5 years. I have a sister that my mother used to argue with because she hooked up with a brother, and I remember my mother used to tell my sister, you wasting your life waiting on this man, you know, and you a young woman, and there's so many things, and you putting your whole life on hold for this man, you know, for whatever reason. I'm just saying, you know, but that was the conversation. So I don't want to express no right or wrong for the sister because I don't know how she was built, how she's built. You know, maybe her mother and her father, or I know when I look back and I watch now my grandchildren growing up and I'm starting to understand the science, and through understanding the science, I'm seeing how my grandchildren are built, you know, and how they growing and how they do things, and when they get instructions, how they follow or carry out these instructions or not, you know. So I just wanted to bring that perspective to the call for thought.
Word, bro. Islam, Noble.
Islam.
For sure.
Peace to that. Islam.
Yes, much peace and love to that. Thank you for adding on, you know, your perspective and your story in that aspect, man. And I feel that 100% too. Not necessarily casting judgment on the sister, but just to analyze this, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Civics,
sir.
the law that was left in the Circle 7, that's the law. Like Kujo was saying earlier, you know, you don't, like, to understand law, you don't necessarily have to, you know, be toting every law dictionary that was ever printed. You know what I mean? There's certain, because you got to remember it's a difference between legal and lawful. So,
that's right.
You know, when you're talking law, you're dealing with morality, just different situations you might be faced with on a daily where you know what's right and what's wrong. You know about necessity, certain things that are not necessary. You don't have to do. But again, that goes back. Islam.
Oh, not to cut you. We had a saying. We used to say the reality is the morality of the matter, and we used to, and that was said in expression to when the way I was raised with it was polygamy. All right, and so with the it was those who used to cast their opinion that at that time were Christians, and they were saying, but it was a lot of brothers and sisters that said they were Christians and following their faith, and it was only one wife, but they was out there with multi-wives anyway. So we used to say that it, and the sisters with multi-brothers anyway, and we used to say then the reality is the morality of the thing, because if you say and confess that you don't believe that and you're doing it, and you have those who say and confess that believe in the polygamy and doing it, then where do the morality lie at? Mm-hmm.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
Islam.
Yeah. Islam, Noble. That, man, we have a couple minutes left. Got like 27 minutes and 2 more callers. I want to thank you for calling in. Everybody that called in on the premise of this conversation tonight. I appreciate every one of you. We all do. This is, again, a conversation for posterity. So with that being said, Brother Asim, thank you much, bro. Thank you very much for tuning in and adding on. But we're going to go to the next caller before time laps out.
Yes, sir. So, peace and love to the mothers also.
Indeed, indeed. All right, peace and love, Noble. All right, caller 3. Oh, hold on. My fault. My bad. I was about to say. All right, caller 352-509. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Absolutely, family. Absolutely, I am with you. And definitely want to camelback, dovetail off what Brother Asim just dropped. Really, all is relative,
Hold on.
you know.
Hold up. Before you go in, is this the brother Zamael?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Excuse me. Not okay. All right. Peace,
all right.
Noble. First and foremost, it's good to hear from you again. It's been a minute. But word, I'm glad you're chiming in on this. Cool indeed. We got limited time, so I'm going to give the floor for you. And we got one more caller. Islam.
Definitely. All is relative, and the universe has really been bringing that to me. The Empress and I have been building on that for a few days now, but it's real. And I want to touch also on a question that you asked a sister and a mother that called in earlier about building a relationship, whether it should be built on the physical or the spiritual. And just to touch right on the lessons that have already been given to us in the first chapter of the Holy Quran, and it tells us that not only is man mind, but man himself is not the body nor the soul, he is a spirit. So definitely we want to build beginning with the spirit, because the spirit is a part of Allah and therefore it is infinite. So if you're building from a base that's infinite, the possibilities of what you're going to build by extension also will be infinite. And that's the direction that the universe is demanding that we all move at this time, to that place of infiniteness, because that's who we are in reality. And again, because all is relative, like Brother Asim said, you know, kind of moving away in my perspective of looking at things, not necessarily good or bad, because a lot of times we get drawn into a polarity when we're saying that's good or this is bad, because there really is no this and that. There is but one thing in reality. There is but one. It's about the unity. So there is one thing that we're dealing with, and that one thing, if we were to sum it all up, yes, it is justice. It's the balance. And right now, the Prophet has already told us that we need to return to that frame of mind of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. They are the ones who brought to this planet the civilizing art of astrology. And based on the science of astrology right now, the sun is in the 7th house, which is Libra, which is Ma'at, which is balance. So it's on time what we're talking on. The reality is that we all are on different points on the path. You know, we're all on different points. And where you are, it may not be where I am, but it is what it is. You know, no judgment. Because when we look into the ancient texts that have been written, there's a passage where a woman who was caught in the very act of adultery was brought before, as the story goes, Yeshua. And they were ready to execute her. And he said, look, I don't pass judgment on you. Now go and sin no more, you know. But the reality, again, we all have a higher and a lower self, and that's reality that we have to come to. And as I personally am growing in this knowledge, realizing that you have a higher and a lower self, and the more you study yourself and the more you know yourself, the more you know about everything else around you, because again, there is but one thing. So the more you know about yourself, the more you know about everything else, because it's all relative, it's all connected. And when we return to that frame of mind, there is a certain clarity that begins to come, which goes to what we know as that Christ degree. And knowing that all is energy, knowing that, not speculating, postulating, knowing that all is energy, and knowing that what goes around does indeed and in fact come around, it allows us to step back and allow the universe to do what it's going to do anyway, and it allows us to be out of the way so that we don't receive any of those negative lashbacks because we were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But just studying ourselves, and I would like to go to one more place in the Holy Quran there, chapter 22, and that number itself, 22, knowing when we start dealing with the mathematics and the numerology, 2 plus 2 being 4, 22 being a master number, 2 plus 2 being a 4, it's a square. And chapter 22
you know what, Go ahead, but keep it brief because we still got 2 more callers in less than 20 minutes left. So I don't want to cut your wisdom. I'm thankful you called in. But let's keep it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. 22, duty of a husband. And I'm just going to read that 12. It says, be not severe to her weakness, but remember thine own imperfection. And for me, that's the thing. As I look at myself and realize my own imperfection, it becomes more difficult for me to pass judgment on other people. But again, family, keep up the good work. And hey, as the prophet said, steady, steady, steady. Islam, family.
Islam. All right, so everybody, check out chapter 22 of the Circle 7. We might have this conversation another time, you know what I mean? But for sure. All right. Islam. So with that being said, Brother Zamael, it's good to hear from you. Thank you for calling in and adding on and giving points of reference. But we're going to go to the next caller. Peace and much love, Noble. Much greatness to you and everybody in your environment, man. Peace and love. All right.
Absolutely.
That being said, peace. With that being said, call it 718-669. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Yes, I'm with you, Islam. Peace and love to you, Mazrahim, and Brother Cujo. I just want to touch on the points that mostly everybody was saying. They have some ancient principles, and then you have universal laws. And cause and effect is one of those laws. So the brother that's being held, kidnapped by these policy enforcers, first of all, he's not in any situation that he didn't put himself in, because all is mine. So you are always where you're supposed to be based on whatever seeds you sowed. And as far as the sister is concerned, she can't be faulted right or wrong because nobody know her particular situation. And maybe the child is a lesson. Maybe she needs the child around to keep her as a reminder to keep her on track.
That's a fact. I didn't even go into all the details of that, but that's a fact.
Yeah, that might be something to keep on track. Also, our ancestors also gave us the 42 oracles of Ma'at. It's strange that her sister called up with the name Ma'at, appellation Ma'at. And it says one of the things is, I will not copulate, which is have sex with another man's wife, or if it's a female, another man's husband. And these are things that, for us to keep a moral inventory, we're supposed to do this every day. That means that it's an ongoing thing as long as you're alive, as long as you're in the flesh. So it's a constant challenge. So, they left that information for us even from before. So this is not a new problem. This is an ancient problem, because they only make a law because somebody did something wrong. Like they say, thou shalt not murder. That's only because somebody murdered somebody and they realized it wasn't good. Then you have the astrology aspect of it, which is what Mother Roz Mariah always say, is that, you got to get the astrological makeup to make sure that you fit with this person. You may be attracted to their energy because they self-confident, which what might happen with you is that they see you confident, and usually a lot of people are attracted to whoever's confident. It has nothing to do with looks sometimes. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's basically what I want to say. a lot of things were said already, like the angel with the cartoons. They tell you from you young, you got the angel on one end and the so-called devil on the other end, and it's who you decide to go with, your higher self, your lower self. But higher self and lower self is still one thing also. That's still self. There's that balance that's dealing with the polarity aspect of it. So that's basically what I want to say. I'm going to yield the floor because I know you got other callers and your time is limited. Thank you for
Absolutely,
that time.
But just for the record, I know the voice when I hear it. This is Brother Diasti, right?
That's correct.
All right. Peace and love, Noble. Thank you for calling in and adding on. Highly appreciate it. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. But we're going to get to our last caller. And, again, high thanks to everybody who tuned in and called in and who's, thinking about it, laughing about the subject, etc. You know what I mean? Like everybody. With that being said, caller 480-438. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam? Caller 480-438. You're live on the air. Are you with us? Tell us you there, fam. What's good? Close us out. What's happening? 480-438. You have your phone on mute? All right. Well, that being said, we're not going to beg you to answer for the rest of the show. And that is our last caller. And with that being said, Cool Joe, I think we, I don't know, we could probably do a part 2 to this one right here, man. Because I feel jibbed the way they your phone wasn't working tonight. You know what I mean? Not that you didn't have some things to add on, but the so-called Matrix was trying to block your signal. You know what I mean?
You know they do.
Yo, that's crazy. But still in all, I thank everybody. We thank everybody for calling in and adding on and approaching this conversation from a realistic perspective. And that being the case, all right, we got to play some closeout music. So we got our last caller, who is a special guest. Special, super special. Okay? So let's get it in. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, don't do that. What happened to you? Come on. We need to hear it from you. Please press 1 again. Press 1 again. Come on now. All right, I'm going to give it a couple of seconds. You know what I mean? But come on now. You know we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. Where are you at? Come on now. I don't even beg. Oh, hold on. Okay, you try to unmute yourself, but I'm unmuting you. So now, peace and love. Is this peace and love? Are you there? I know I just unmuted you, man. What's really happening? Talk to us, please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Talk to us. What's happening?
All right. Now
listen,
I just wanted to say one thing on everything. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists.
Hold on. You breaking up. We need to hear you. Talk to us clear. What's happening?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. Losing our culture. And we started thinking like the colonists until Noble Drew came and started dropping it. That's the problem.
The problem is, that's what the problem is. No, this savage mentality.
Yeah.
Talk about it. I don't want to suppress. I'm so thankful you called in and added that on because that's the truth. A lot of people took on the European mentality of, whatever, sleep with whatever, That's how they thought. They slept with, they would insert these European sons, and I'm not knocking anybody, who did clean themselves up based off the lessons that the Moors brought to them, and stop doing things like having sex with goats, and stop inserting a phallus in chickens. You know what I mean? If you're European and you got to that level, good. You know what I mean? Because that was some wild. That's wild. You know what I mean? But for sure, it is a fact that that's how the colonists thought. That's the type of stuff they was doing. So to adopt a mentality of just having sex with any woman or anything that you can insert your phallus in, excuse me, not you, Mom. You know what I mean? But that's a colonistic thought wave. That's a foreign frequency. That's not how we was moving. You know what I mean? So for sure. Now, please, do you have anything else to add on?
No, I enjoyed everything, and I heard the last person, Brother Giuseppe, talking about, and earlier also the sister talking about knowing our consciousness and about astrology, astrologics, knowing your own trinity, sun, moon, and rising that you navigate through, and the rest of your chart, but that's the highest important portion, and definitely working with that because it's nothing but representations of, or I guess representation is the right word, of the various attributes and energies of man and how they blend or don't blend. I find that we've also adopted an expectation of others without knowing what the possibilities are to even expect anything in the first place. In other words, the mentality that we adopted is skewed. It's messed up because, how are you going to have an expectation of someone and you don't even know what the capabilities of man and the attributes of man are? It's like really, it's unreasonable, illogical to expect something from someone and you don't even know what the capabilities are. So how do you know them? By knowing the attributes, capabilities, personalities, the blending of such of man. And then looking at that, looking at you and saying, well, what could possibly come out of this? It's just logical. That's the science. It's
logical. Science. Islam, thank you so much for calling in and gracing us with your wisdom for the record. Highly appreciated. Highly appreciated. With that being said, I want to say I think we all thank everybody for listening tonight. Everybody who will hear this later and share it, pass it on, share your perspective on it, etc. All of those great things. We appreciate that. And with that saying in closing, we might have to revisit this subject matter again. But I want to yield the floor over Cujo, because I feel like, we was jibbed out of the classic, getting your opinion on it. But I still think we did all right. But I still, you know what I mean? I wanted you to share your wisdom as well. And I feel like we got cheated by what happened to your airwaves tonight. But either way, you know what I mean? All is well. But we're going to have to come back and put a pin in this conversation and maybe add on, you know what I mean? And then, not to put nobody on the hot seat, but maybe we can eventually get our sister to, come on and explain if she's willing and open to do that. But I don't want to put nobody on the hot seat. What I'm saying is with that, this Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m., we have the Canaan Land Ustream, Canaan Land Moors Ustream, where Cujo is going in on different topics and answering certain emails and things like that. And right after that, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all of this is Eastern Standard Time, we have the MHHS Eyes Wide Open Principles of Nationality in Action. And we trust that everybody tune in. Patrick, sorry we couldn't get to you tonight. This was not about that. So if you want to get any information on that, you call in Tuesday, and anybody else with any other conversation. Tuesday, we'll be right back. And on top of that, we want to say, the WOW album, Wisdom of the Womb, Canaan Land Moors, or to be in proper jurisdiction. This is the Al Moroccan compilation, 3-disc album. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? This is because Canaan Land is still Al Morocco, and we got, it's Moors all over this. So, you know, enjoy the tunes, but we're going to close out with the track 1 or track 2 besides the intro, which is Mission Never Impossible. Y'all don't even know. I'm high off this album already. You know what I mean? I'm high off the album. I am, man. So I really trust y'all get this. It's get your spirit, your chakras, your mood. Said music is one of the 7 liberal arts. And we're going to close out on the Circle 7 Science. I think that's the best thing we could do at this particular point. You know what I mean? So I can't wait to get the green light to spin some of this other. Y'all don't even know about this fire. Y'all don't even know, but when I get the green light, I'm sharing it. And that's what it is. Salute to all the Moors on the WOW album, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Principles of Nationality and Action, Blog Talk Radio, Sister Standing on Law. And thanks everybody listening tonight. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, Noble. Islam.
Peace, Moor.
Peace, Moor. 1.
So I just want to get you in. What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't in the building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, repping Friday 30s like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, we them light beings. So you might see him on the block getting his potion. Might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking. See the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out. While we box in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify our possible mission. Free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the cross, souls God bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the 7 lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past righteous blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the hearing aids. Whether the sky is clear or gray. Rain when you hear it fake, giving life to seeds. Speaking to who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. Can help us look to these holes like hallucinary pimps. Sun walks the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, used to see his grin. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple 100 years. Walk around town with a couple 100 peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine for what fears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack. Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place. The spoons on blocks, inspired spots, fill spaces, peel back, racks up, who got cases. Fire stain the corridors of flemo faces. Game changers, rule benders, and no pretenders. Style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses. Send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in. We on our birds, we emerge, subliminal being. Third eye seeing, still I participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, bake, grade me. Rolling with my main G, double OMG. S-O-N is crazy for a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a native to his land being schooled by a foreign dude. You mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark pools. I've been saying you mistaken me. You better move for our market. My weapon is my tongue, your existence a target. Revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Out some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my fortune. Blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope in the city, killing some dope, just to keep us afloat. Might as deep as the boat. Brain is a lethal weapon, we one need to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Vuitton to send me poke. Cause dirty cops to kill your boy, yeah, it's a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prisons. These little girls that sell their bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas sell their niggas just for bail condition. It's like the slavery never ended, we're the intermission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me, that makes one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me, one